about from the beginning, it wasn't about like expanding supply and scaling and all of that. No, it's about building community among people who really see a more human way of educating kids locally.
That's right.
So that's what we're here for. So thank you.
Yeah.
And Alex has just joined our team.
Anything that we can do, we are not educators, but we want to make it easier for y'all to do the work that you do with educating your kids and your communities.
And then I have my moment with the conversation. My great hope is that you understand that you are part of something very deep and very long and very rooted that is sustaining you even when you don't feel it. And the policy side of it is huge, the entrepreneurial side of it is huge, but also we talked last night at length, this is a permanent thing. Parents do this. Every now and then they just erupt and they say, I want my children back and I'm gonna take care of them. So you're part of the permanent thing, and that's my role, is to inform your story with your story. Your story with my story.
We need a teacher. I think you all have seen me post probably. That's our dire need right now. But we basically are planning to operate 2 days a week for 4 hours where parents can drop off to have some child-free time while they're working. And we basically are focusing on grade school age, so 6 to 10 or 11-ish right now.
Nice.
I guess our real big heart and passion is serving that specific population of kids, particularly people who have access issues, and getting really good support for things like dyslexia, attention issues, autism that is highly functioning, things like that. That's most of our crowd. We do lots of project-based learning. We've got a little kind of mini farm situation happening at our school with a lot of animals, and we garden. And
so anyway, I mean, this has been my dream for 10 years, and I've been working on it for a very, very, very long time, and realized quite quickly it was more than I could handle by myself, and so I just happened to mention to Sarah that I was doing this, and she was like, yeah. So we are waiting, we are treading, but we're getting there. We're getting there. But yeah, like she said, 130 kids and a waiting list, and we've already got 8 for next year kindergartners that are on the list, and so we're booming.
Kind of busting at the seams.
So we started in 2020, like COVID year, with just one class. Go, let's just our kids, our oldest were 2nd grade. Let's just do that, and we hired a teacher. So it's a hybrid school, so they go to school 2 mornings a week where parents drop off their kids, but everyone's a licensed homeschool family. And so we use homeschool curriculum, and they just set the pace for the class and teach the core subjects, and then we do the rest at home.
One of my original partners today said, it is freeing to realize we aren't for everyone.
Amen.
So we are a classical co-op, and Latin is not for everyone. I think it should be.
Not for me.
But like, I am not sure, but I think I might have lost a family to you guys last year because they needed you. I'm just saying, it is so true that it isn't one size fit all, and to hear what you guys are doing just makes my heart swell, because I have a grandchild, we're gonna be talking, you know, it's just like, I cannot meet that need.
We love it. We serve 13 families, about 30-something kids, 1 day a week. And then in addition to that, I offer some classes, like enrichment classes on Tuesday afternoons that all homeschoolers, and really any kids, even if they're at home, they're virtual school or whatever, it's open for them to come and take these classes. So that's kind of just what I love. I've been serving the homeschool community in several different ways and worked on different boards of co-ops and things like that, and welcomed other moms in my home, and I really like bringing community together and letting people know that there's support, because I felt like homeschooling can be really lonely. You can feel very isolated, and so I wanted to kind of counter that and let them know you're not alone. Here's a great community and that sort of thing. And so I started a business called AIM, which is Autonomous, Innovative, and Missional. It's an educational collaborative with the purpose of bringing people together for support. Now I'm really excited about the microschooling thing, because it helps meet a need that's different than your traditional public school or your private school or the homeschool, and that's all you can do is just stay at home 5 days a week.
Delina's, her gifts are just in
building community
No
and
kidding.
connections and organizing and all of those things, because honestly, we would not be here
Right.
if it weren't for Delina really connecting with each one of us individually and bringing us all together. So that's been pretty amazing. And to see this happening, you know, like in such a short period of time as well.
Because when was the first time we got together?
April.
Yeah, like not very long ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And we actually met at the same,
That first
Which
alternative
was
education.
September of last year.
yeah,
Right.
September, I think.
And then I applied for Vela Grant in October because you told me about it.
Right.
And then one happened to open up the
Yeah,
next
you
month.
told me, right?
And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
She told me about it too.
Yeah, in my searches online at schools all over the world really and the country, somewhere along the line of these years of me looking at programs and schools, there was this 4.0 schools at the bottom, and I was like, I wonder what that is. And I thought, let me just click on that. So I went to their website, and sure enough, in like a week and a half was closing on a fellowship that I could apply to. And so I'm like, ooh, let me get on this. So I applied to it, and it was pretty competitive. Like there was an interview process and like all of this, and you had to like do a lot. It wasn't just a grant, it was like a lot of education piece. I had to go to New Orleans, and it was before COVID, right before COVID. So anyway, I did all that, learned a lot, and learned about Vela. At any rate, with that money, we were able to expand and lease our current space that we've now purchased. When COVID hit in 2020, we knew we wanted to expand to older grades, but that was the catalyst for making it happen. So we had 26 kids that first year, K through 6, and then it's just gone up from there. Now this year is our third year in the building, and we have 54, I believe, somewhere in there. And then we have our preschoolers, 224 preschoolers, and we're just like busting at the seams. Like we bought this building and we're like, oh crap.
Yep.
Like there's nowhere to go. We're like using the closets and you know, all of that. It's just really cool to have community building so that we know like we're not in this alone, and it's been really neat to see this happening in these faces that just you know, we keep seeing each other, and it's really neat. It's not so isolating, feeling like you're on an island by yourself.
So we were given recently a beautiful gift from someone that donated that I had never met before that pretty much saved our business. So financially it was very, very difficult. I thought I was gonna have to sell before we even opened, just because I haven't had a paycheck myself for about a year now. If it wasn't for my husband maintaining everything at home, we'd be in big trouble. But he ended up saving the business, and we were able to give some scholarships away. But we went from 10 in the home, now we have 30. We've got 30 and then 3 more coming in the next month. I started out hoping that I could help some single parents because my mom was a single mom, and so I'm like, oh, that's my goal. Last week we were all counting, and 26 out of 30 parents are single parent families, and we had no idea. So, that's my goal, is for them to come free, and I gotta get money in there to make that happen, so.
So this year, I just see so many changes in the students, and it's like amazing, because I know that they wouldn't be able to do this in a public school setting, and so I'm just happy that I'm there to provide an alternative to the parents, so that the students can bridge the gap. And like today, we've been doing some really hard things, and I've been pushing them, and one of the printed things is to let students sit in the struggle for a minute, and that's really hard for me to do it, not to give them the answer, not to help them. But as they begin to sit in the struggle, we do like a morning meeting and a closing sermon. And I said, well, what was something that you were really happy about today? And so all of them just lit up, because I almost had one little boy, he was almost in tears one day, just because, you know, he was just trying to understand it. And so then at the end of the day, to hear them say, I got it, I can do the problem, I did it on my own, was just like, I mean, and every day I'm hearing these stories, and I'm like, okay, so everything that I've heard that it could be, I see it happening now, and that is absolutely phenomenal for me.
Well, as I was looking at things, part of my role too was looking at the data for all learners. And as I'm looking at the data, I'm like, boy, this is really disheartening. Like, we should not have kids sitting in class for 7 hours out of the day, and then at the end of the day, you're in 5th grade and you can't even spell your name. I was just really thankful that in, 2019, I was just like, man, I'm just gonna go for it. And it's, the funny thing about it is that, like, I don't know, this is like what's interesting, is that like a couple of months before I decided to do it, all of a sudden I just had this need to start saving. I was like, I'm getting this extra amount of money in my check every single month, and I'm just gonna start saving. I don't even know what it's for, right? And then fast forward some months later, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm just gonna jump in, because I gotta help some kids. And so I went and I looked at the building that I'm in now, and guess how much my grant was? The same amount that I have been saving every single month. So I went in having a couple of months saved up front, and I was like, yes, I can get in here. And I just literally just did room by room. Okay, we're gonna do this wall. But the thing that I loved about it is that we were giving kids what they needed.
That's right.
And I just was not comfortable knowing that I'm walking in classrooms every single day. Teachers are crying at the end of every single day because they didn't get into this just for a paycheck. If so, they'd have picked a different profession. Let's just be honest, because teachers don't get paid enough. We all know what this looks like, you know what I mean? And so from there, we went in basically with academic assessments and tutoring, and before we know it, families and parents was like, well, you keeping my kids, so you better figure out how you're gonna keep them. And I was like, okay. Yeah. And then at the same time, the people was reaching out, like, for instance, like, once we kind of got started, Prenda reached out and was like, well, we've got a micro school over here in Wichita, and we don't even know, we need somebody to go over and help this micro school. And I was like, okay, well, you know, I'll go, because there's some kids over there, you know. I think the interesting thing about IED, that's what we call it after my grandmother, is that we're just not a school. We're so much more, because the community is coming to us and hey, we need this. And I'm just kind of dead set on, we're not going to just have a bunch of people at the top saying, nope, we're not taking them, and nope, we're not taking them. I want to get to the bottom and just help the people who need the help. You know what I mean? So like a lot of homeschooling families, like even today, we have multiple ones called today because they need somebody to tutor their kids and they don't know where to go. So this whole afternoon, I spent time getting them in for assessments and figuring out like what that's going to look like for them, and even they need help lesson planning. They need help with figuring out what their kids are supposed to be learning. And you got Microschools like Brenda, who's like an amazing educator. We're like, come help with this, but it's just amazing. It's just amazing to sense that people need help, and that's really just what I love to do, is just step in and be able to assist and help.